Welcome back on in. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Victory Road Unite Clash number 12. Number 12. Number 12. All right. So I am Dr. Kendo, and I'm here with Tings, all the little Tings, if you want to give a full name to the face. Thank you so much for joining me. It's your first time commentating on Victory Road Unite Clash.
Yeah, my first time commentating really, period, but it's been such a delight to do it, and it's been so great doing it with you, and everyone's been so warm and welcoming, and these have been some amazing games to be able to watch and commentate. It's been so fun.
Oh, I'm sorry, here for you. And by ready, I mean Tings and I, at least. We just have to make sure that the players are ready. Sometimes speaking of sweating, there's a little bit of sweating that goes on just before, because we don't know exactly when the match is going to begin from Tings and I's perspective. We just know it's coming soon, so we kind of have to play it on the fly here. But we got GGtoorDip in the chat.
Hello. Oh, and here we are at character selection. Can't wait to see where we end up here. Wondering whether we're going to get to see another Zera Aura come out.
Well, we would love to see that, of course. GGtoorDip, thank you for dipping into our chat. But then, of course, coming in here, sticking with the Blissey. So we got the egg and, of course, the egg noob. The egg and the egg noob. So you guys locking down your Blissies, thank you for that. And right now, of course, if you just didn't, probably most people don't need it, but just in case, IX Gaming, they are going to be playing on that purple side. And, of course, for the orange, that means GT is going to be playing for them.
Yeah, and it looks like Bullylax is coming back out on IX's side on Rin's character. The Lucario switching from that Lucario to an Aegislash. Oh, OG maybe also switching their character as well.
Well, you love to see it, ladies and gentlemen, but we do know OG was taken just hardcore as that Lucario, so maybe getting outside of that just really comfort zone. But I would say when you have somebody like OG was taken, you're talking probably top 10 in the top path. Really, I kind of give them the flexibility to pick whatever they want. I have confidence. But, of course, look at our Aegislash right here. Tings, ready to go scuba diving or something. So, sporting the wonderful Hollowware as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ready go for our finals.
We'll see where this ends up. Can't wait to see more of these gaming. Okay, we're going to see a 2-on-2 on both sides again. Pretty similar matchups, it feels like, again, both sides with Blissey's going down bot, and a support character of Hoopa and Snorlax on top.
Well, we see Link Boy in the chat saying, why is Rin playing Lax again? And that Snorlax has actually come in clutch for Rin. I would not definitely hold that as a bad thing yet. We got to see it play out. And of course, Rin, Tings and I have kind of tried to coin this new phrase for it, which is the Bullylax. And honestly, I feel like a player like Rin is very well suited to play this because this Snorlax, you need somebody who's sort of that multi-tool like Toon, but Rin kind of fits that bill too, can play almost anything.
Yeah, exactly. And this Bullylax has been quite brutal. Although I do see Nudo in bot lane being denied a lot of well, I don't know about a lot, but they are at 0 points right now, so I'm not, and there's still just a little tiny bounce sweet. Bullylax go down.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You almost got the exact phrasing right too, So I was thinking that in my head is the Bullylax is bullied. So yeah, they do get brought down early, but like we mentioned sort of earlier on in this tourney is that it's not the end of the world quite yet, although that was crucial for these Bs. So that's the main thing, right, Tings, is you don't want to miss out on certain XP points, and that would have been one. So right here we are going to see a lovely takedown, of course, on our Aegislash player. So right now, IX Gaming obviously ahead, but you're looking at a very early match still.
Exactly, and we did see that the coding got bullied a little bit and they got some EXP and they were able to get some scores in on top as they come back to top lane now.
You always wonder, at least I wonder, I don't know if you wonder this too, but essentially are these teams when they're not playing, are they actually watching our tourney, the tourney stream? Because then all right, they're playing as this Pokemon, they're kind of doing this strategy. You wonder how much credence to give to that, I guess. Because also, obviously, let's say that IX Gaming was looking at what GT was doing in that last set. GT could totally just turn that around and surprise you, so you don't want to put too much, trust in that.
Exactly, yeah. Which is why I always find those the first game is always a little bit okay, we'll see how it goes. The second game is oh, we just saw how each team plays. Let's see how we can counter it. It's always so interesting to see how the team shifted up.
Indubitably. So, ladies and gentlemen, Egg Noob now dropping down to the half. Luckily, you're that tanky Blissey. You got the tank with you. And look at this. Just diving into action was OG was taken to stop that goal. And a very, very sudden with Kratos looking to make that 30. Will be able to hyperspace hole on out of there. So it's looking good and then reattempt on this score.
Kratos still doesn't get a score in, though Lacoding and Espo are able to. Oh, now Kratos is able to get their score in as Machoka gets it right now is in the jungle.
Ting is getting the commentator's curse. Finally, it's happened to you. Gosh, it happens to me over and over. I'll be
it had to happen
something.
at least once.
It's the thing about Unite, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a viewer at home, you know Unite is fast-paced. Anything can happen in 5 or 10 seconds even. And so right here, what is transpiring? Well, it's the Dreadnought fight, and it's brought down very quickly. GT gonna secure that one.
Yeah, we saw both the hyperspace beams come out. Bulby went a little bit, tiny bit too early on it, leaving just a tiny bit to be chunked by Kratos on GT's team to be able to take that Dreadnought for the first Dreadnought for GT.
Yeah, and when you look at this, that was good momentum for GT to turn this game around. We're looking at a slightly different game, but still, these teams are kind of neck and neck for the most part when we speak in Unite terms. That's mostly it, right? Because obviously GT is ahead 126 to 85, but when you're looking at a score like that, especially at 6 minutes on the clock, that's pretty good. This is pretty close.
Exactly. And we see everyone starting to, not everyone, but a lot starting to rotate up top just to see if they can contest that Rotom. We'll see who ends up getting it. Looks like we're seeing we're seeing a little bit of a wipeout on GT from IX Gaming. So some ults coming out from Aegislash, that Dragonite. Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to take your
you're
statement over or anything. But yeah, Rin actually dipping so low. I mean, that bully, he's still going to survive. That's how a bully does it right now. You're going to see if he gets pulled off maybe unexpectedly, you're going to see the wall actually thrown up, though. So that was the interesting part about it. It's going to try to test and poke them and then get revenge, punished for that.
Yeah, Bulby was taken out just earlier by a single Hoopa auto, which is unfortunate. But it looks like, OG was able to secure that GT when Kratos went a tiny bit too early on the Hyper Beam. And so Rotom was taken by IX on that one.
Man, that was clutch. It's a little bit dirty, too. I mean, you gotta see that. He just dove on in there like, nope, That's the engineer from TF2, right? Everybody, you guys know that nope, the engineer meme. That was just a complete nope. So wonderful job if your OG was taken. I mean, that was clutch handling of that situation and paid off, definitely.
And it looks like while we were watching the Rotom fight happen, IX was able to gain a little bit of a lead in bot lane, being able to break that T1. And we see GT's Hoopa bringing out that Rings Unbound.
Yes, we do expect a lot right now from this purple squad. That's IX Gaming. They are representing North America. At least that's Tings and I's region here. We are natives, but you see GT once again kind of playing like they did against TTV, those legends. They're taking all these objectives right here, except for that Rotom up top.
And it looks like GT was taken out a little bit by IX Gaming. Aegislash and Lacoding living with that Blissey ult, trying to take out as Bulby comes back in with that ult, but that shield form really doing so much for Lacoding's sustainability right now as he's chasing down OG.
Yes, that was definitely key because OG is actually going to fall right here, and that's a great player. Like we said, we talked up OG was taking a lot today, and definitely deserving so. Lacoding, though, is just coming out a gate strong. Going to fall right here at the Bs, unfortunately, as I'm talking about it, but it's okay. Lacoding has definitely proven himself today. We just have to see, will the proving still continue in this match? Because you can see right now, 143 to 145 on these juggernauts.
Lacoding's death was not in vain, though, because GT was able to get a score in and open up the map a little bit, basically mirroring what they're both sides of the map right now in terms of the open goals. And we see they're pushing a little bit on top. It looks like everyone's converging a little bit, but maybe pulling back now.
Right, and so this will be the dance for Rotom, is when is the time right? Well, generally, if there's no other wild farm and everything, and the other team especially starts it, you got to go on in there. So GT and IX Gaming, they are going for it hard right here. And that will now be the confirmation for GT to pick up the Rotom.
A well-placed Delphox hurting both the teams so that the IX's team so they kite back a bit, and also doing damage to the Rotom so that GT's Kratos is able to secure that. And we'll see, it looks like they're going to try to push it in and see if they can get some goals in with Rotom. And it looks like they are doing a little bit of starting to wipe a little bit more, and we see maybe they're going to be able to get this Rotom in before, but the Rotom's taken out, but they might still be able to score.
It was Bulby coming in with the really clutch Hyper Beam and actually able to dodge that one, and then unfortunately get just completely dunked on with that Unite move. It was finally that Draco impact to settle it, right? Because there was a song and dance. I mean, that's really interesting with the Dragonite play on both teams right there. And so that Rotom Tings, I kind of thought of it like in kindergarten or something, they have that ring that everybody holds onto with a rope and all the kids hold onto it. That was the Rotom. You wanted it to grab onto that ring and just kind of shuttle it on in there, basically.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was not able to.
Yeah, and honestly, shockingly, looking at the time, there's only 6 seconds until Zapdos, which explains why they wanted to push that in so bad, try to open up their side of the map a little bit more and gain an advantage. We see Bullywhax go down, Hoopa brings Unbound coming out with a Delphox ult right on top of their team. GT's going out with 2 of their members out, but Lakoding trying to take out OG right successfully here. Trying to take out Pika Diff now, while Nudo also is stomping on everyone in Serena.
Gonna hope that this pays off, but you maybe noticed that Kratos for GT as that Dragonite unfortunately will fall, but before then got a Hundo Dunk in there in on the bottom path, and that was just to try to sneak that in as that final stretch hits. But the main problem is exactly what might have happened here. They did kind of come back to it fast with the Draco Impact, but it left, of course, IX Gaming with more people on field, you know, more hands on deck, let's say, to take on the Zapdos. So they will secure that, ladies and gentlemen. We now might see a complete turnaround right here. Hundo Dunkins Unite runs on Hundo Dunkins, and there they go.
And you can see that each team member on IX Gaming has basically a Hundo Dunkins to put in. And so we're going to see a huge, maybe 600 points being put in. And we'll see what happens here. We'll see what GT does. Oh, as Delphox gets taken out. Oof.
Yeah, definitely getting sat on is no fun right there, and Snorlax has been doing plenty of it with that heavy slam. So GT feeling the pain because they really did largely put up such a fierce game the entire time. It was just IX Gaming coming in clutch with that final stretch. And really, again, I have to reiterate, you know, GT, that looked nice and everything to have your Dragonite, you score right when the final stretch happens, and then try to just sort of do your own teleportation, you know, not the Hoopa rings, but teleport in with the Draco Impact. And it's just, unfortunately, may not have paid off for them, though.
It looks like Hoopa's porting everyone in from GT side to try to do a final push. Delphox all coming down. I saw Draco Impact. Rinzo going off as well. There's so much happening on the screen, it's hard to tell, but no scores have gone in quite just yet. But we'll see whether they're able to manage anything. The 3 seconds left seems highly unlikely, but yeah.
That was the skirmish of a lifetime. They really needed it, but IX Gaming was ready, so I think that was really one of those uphill fights that just would be too hard, and we definitely saw it take place. So GG, that will be IX Gaming, ladies and gentlemen, taking the first game right here with a score of 743 to 315 on GT.
The MVPs on each side going to It's Nudo on IX's side, and Kratos on the GT side. 224 points scored by Nudo. Wow. Oh.
That looks devastating, and also, it's, you know, followed up by 154, 124, 122, 119. These are all really great displays from IX Gaming, and largely that came from the final stretch, which we'll see in a moment here with that graph. We do want to, of course, praise...
Which we did see. We did see the bully getting bullied early on as well. Probably happened like later on. We didn't see as much of like the aggressive like Snorlax shoving people into walls like we've seen with Block in the past, even though we did see a lot of heavy slams that did come in clutch later on for some of the team fights, especially in the Zap Pit. Yeah.
That's absolutely right. And so thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure to cheer on your favorite team there in the chat, or both teams if you want to. We've been cheering on Tings, which I like too, so feel free to give any more Tings support right here. Tings with a Z, ladies and gentlemen. She's been doing great on her first Victory Road Unite Clash. And
obviously cheer on Dr. K as well, obviously. The icon, the legend here.
That's very, very sweet. I do not need it, but it's very kind of you guys. So you got to hand it to these teams, though. I mean, it really, again, it was before that Zapdos, we were seeing quite the slugfest. What do you call those, Tings? Would you say it's a slobber knocker? Is it a slugfest? Is it like a hoedown? What's your word for this kind of thing? A showdown?
I usually don't have words. Whenever I'm in those kinds of fights, I'm a Pikachu and I get wiped immediately. So I'm just watching. I'm an omniscient presence, just watching everything else happen. So.
You heard it here. You have heard it here. But ladies and gentlemen, yes, it has been a fun day, a fun tournament, really, all around. So, you know, I got to say, I'm really happy that Tings got to have her first experience commentating with this specific set, this specific tournament. We're seeing legends, we're seeing teams that are pretty well established overall, but also pretty high level of competition for the most part, you know. Certainly there is a lot of, I'm going to at least say it from a perspective of a content creator. You may see this too, Tings. A lot of controversy when it comes to a Zap flip. some people may not like to see that anymore. You know, they may be like, oh gosh, this is so like tired and played out, you know, when you win with the Zapdos like that, you know. It is a mechanic of the game, though. It's just been something, especially since a patch, let's say it, I guess 2 patches ago, I would say, you know, largely we started to see it a lot with those updates. And so the Zap Flip is going to be prevalent. It's just, you know, will they win with that again? Time will tell.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens there. I feel like like you were saying with the patches, it put both of an emphasis away from the scoring comp like we were seeing where you just score as much as possible back to team fighting, but then it also opened up the path for that Zap Flip like you were saying, and that's what we're seeing a lot in these tournaments, especially today. And that's where IX was able to, well, they did win the team fight and some flips with some of the other objectives earlier on in the games as well.
Yeah, and that was an interesting one because GT has been really solid at getting objectives overall. Like, we're just talking in a general sense. When it did come down to what was going to make it win, though, obviously, it went to IX, so I'm a little bit shocked, you know? It was just, from my perspective, it really did look like GT was actually possibly going to take that, you know, until that Zapdos. So we'll see what you guys are saying in the chat. You know, we got Zeus being very sweet, saying cracked commentators, thank you. And of course, Ryan was like me after ulting with Pika, but still dying instantly.
Relatable.
Nice little emote, yeah.
That one hits close to home. I get it.
So wonderful. So we'll just await these teams, of course, right now. For those who don't know, but especially if you're in the chat right here, I just want to kind of give you a window in. I love this person, but it's Gamma. It's, you know, a capital G, little A's. But Gamma is one of our tournament organizers on the scene who just, I feel, really does so much for the Unite scene, but sometimes may be these sort of unsung heroes, especially on a tournament. When you're watching a broadcast like that, you really got to hand it to the TOs whenever you see that terminology. It's tournament organizers. So, for instance, Gamma right now may be kind of running very quickly between both teams as the liaison and saying, hey, are you guys ready? Here's the codes. Here's everything that you need. And, you know, Gamma sometimes is also on the spectating. So sometimes you'll see that. I don't know if today. I don't know if Gamma's running it today. But sometimes you'll see it in some of these tourneys. That'll be actually the person running the spectator mode, too, the client for us. So, again, just please hand it, you know, in the chat. Give him an applause, maybe a heart emote, whatever you want to give, you know.
Yeah,
anyway,
huge shout out to them because everyone who's been able to make this happen, made the casting happen, made the tournament happen, made everything moving along so quickly and so well happen. So everyone send them a lot of love because this would not be happening without them.
So thank you so much, you guys. We're also seeing, of course, Princess Kira was, I guess, great job. Both commentators. It's very sweet. Big Slim, same thing. Like, I'm taking notes. Thank you. That's very kind. If you do want notes, I've got them, by the way. Just send me a DM. But anyway, here we go. So, Tings, make sure we let the viewers know, of course, the teams are going to switch sides. So that's kind of the first thing, right? Is GT is going to be on the purple this time. IX, they're going to be over there on orange. It's just so that's not a jarring experience for everybody. But what are you seeing, Tings? There's kind of some obvious check marks here.
Interesting. So we see that basically it looks like GT is going to stay exactly the same on everything. Lacoding's still going to be on the Aegislash and not the Lucario. But most interestingly, it's Nudo is flashing between confirmed and not on that Absol before they were running this arena. And so I'm curious to see how that plays out because both in semifinals and these finals matches, they've been running only Serena. So we'll see how this Absol plays out. You know, it got nerfed a little bit. Oh.
There they go.
Oh, okay, there they go. Last minute change back to Serena. No Absol gamers.
Yeah, while you were saying it, it was the commentator's curse because they, of course, were unchecking the mark, you know, uncheck mark, check mark, uncheck mark, check mark. And so it was just trying to throw off the other squad and say, hey, I'm using an Absol. No, I'm using Zarina. Absol, you know, maybe if this was like a month and a half ago, yeah, we would have seen an Absol probably, but not now.
Month and a half ago, I think we would have seen an Absol in every single game.
We've just been
a battle of the Absol versus Absol at that point.
But hey, Gamma was in there saying, I do what I can, love what I do, and do it for the community, and we thank you for it, brother, so thank you so much. Anyway,
the community's better for it.
Yeah, this match is now underway, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing kind of what we saw a little bit in the last match, of course. 2-1-2. We're going to be seeing our central area taken over by the Dratinis, both sides, which is the right move, of course. Just have to point that out.
And we see that they're going to start aggressing again a little bit. We see Bullywhack ends up getting, maybe not actually, getting some of that farm though, and they're pushing in to try to get some caps there. We'll see whether IX Gaming is able to score up top here. OG dangerously low, escaping through mid, and they just make it out, though it looks like Hoopa's chasing.
And so Rin right now going to be pulling that speed off right here for Snorlax. Bully was just taking a nap in front of everybody's faces. But hey, it was the right move. You know, had to get a little bit of XP right here. It's Nudo going to be jumping on in, try to disrupt, but I don't think we'll take any of that farm or anything. At least give them some warning shots here in this early match.
We see the junglers on both teams are rotating top right now, just sitting on top, just trying to chill out here a little bit until we see the bees come up.
All right, and so speaking of those Combi and Vespiquen, there they are on a silver platter, but then they are gone right away, and so Snorlax will get another rest in right here, but unfortunately it will lead to a KO, so being brought down right here, IX Gaming, it's unfortunate, but hey, making a little bit of punishment back for GT.
Nice little trade there with both the jungler and with the Machop there on top lane there, and we see Bulby go back to jungle after securing some bees and some kills.
This is looking nice in the central area. We'll just go ahead and get those buffs right here. And then I think you noticed maybe just at a slight attempt right there from GT, and we can see it happening on the mini-map, but they got a Hoopa invade. This is something we've seen actually in some of the tourneys lately, but right here, there we go. We can see it on camera right here. Espo will actually back out with the hyperspace hole and then come right back on in. It's the invasion. You're trying to steal that farm. You're trying to stop that central area player, for instance, this Dragonair, from getting out of control.
And you can see that they were, I believe they were successful because they now have that red buff ring around them, which implies that they got it and that they did manage to steal it from IX Gaming.
That's exactly what you were looking for, right? And so now we're seeing a little bit of pressure here, though. IX does want to apply this, of course, before you got another Bees coming up, but also the Dreadnought. So you got a few things to look forward to right here, but hey, just why not get a KO in the process?
IX being really oppressive up top, really pushing, trying to get a lot of early game scores, leaving just 1 point left on top. And so we'll see whether if they're able to secure all the Bs. It does look like Hoopa and Aegislash are back up top, and we'll see what happens there as the fight for Bs happens down bot.
And so it is now transpiring before us. That's the what we were all mentioning kind of leads up to this moment, right? Is that Dreadnought fight. And so generally this is where you might see those hyperspace holes hit the goals right here. In this case, though, of course, GT, you're actually seeing a dunk in on the top. So they will not have their Aegislash player on deck right here, I would say. So right now, Dreadnought very low brought down, and IX Gaming is going to take that. Forgive me, it's IX. We'll go ahead and take that. They did not want to repeat a last game.
Able to secure that with the Hyper Beam, and they are able to push really far up and start scoring on this bot goal. And we'll see whether they're able to, where they decide to break it now, or if they're just going to leave it with just a little bit like they did on top and then just rotate top immediately. We see Nudo up top with OG aggressive. Oh, ulting the Aegislash, ulting Lakoding, taking them out for this Rotom fight and trying to push up top again, getting a huge overcap here.
That dancing queen, my friend Serena, that was definitely key. So wonderful job. Good job, IX Gaming. And they are now furthering that score gap a little bit. This is definitely not outside the range of any comebacks. We're just pointing it out. Just about double the score. And so right here, you do actually see GT. They are, it was interesting to see because unfortunately, it's just as I'm saying it, they could have tried to make that push. Maybe they were all together, but now they have to be sent sort of on the defense.
Exactly, and so we're going to probably see this Rotom. It looks like IX Gaming is going to try to push it into this T2 because they can, and it is just Delphox so far just trying to guard this. The Kratos is here. Oh, we see the Bullywhack coming out. The ult, though, well-placed ult, actually preventing Rotom from advancing too much closer. Kratos taking out Machamp here, and everyone is retreating a bit, and they'll defend from Rotom successfully.
Yes, once again, very nice use of the fireworks. This is where you want to see them go down largely if you're in that just kind of dangerous scenario where maybe there's a Rotom, maybe there's a major push with other players. You throw down those fireworks and it's just huge AoE. Looks good. So GT luckily able to kind of get out of that mostly unscathed. Now we have to see what's going to happen though as we transition to the next Dreadnought.
Exactly. I think we're probably going to see some big fights here and then some big pushes here. We'll see whether they try to aggress each other's like bottom T1s, and we'll see what happens. So it looks like Kratos is taken out early before the Dread even manages to spawn. Serena ulting the Blissey, taking out a key healer. Oh, but Blissey ults Black ZH, and we'll see if they manage to survive here as the Rings Unbounds come out.
Oh yeah, definitely dirty fight all around, right? Both these teams trying to make a contest for it, but IX Gaming once again securing that. So you're looking pretty good if you're IX. I mean, you're going to be stacking up these levels now. This is where it starts to make, I think, paint the picture a lot more, you know? Oh, get your gains.
Yeah, and we saw the Bullywhack's a little bit just dragging poor Kratos around back and forth so that they're able to get a KO on him, as they also managed to score and break that bottom goal with also an overcap again. IX Gaming leading 223 to 96 really opened up the map for them, really makes it possible for them to be much more aggressive and being able to get EXP from the other side as well, while also securing their own.
This is what we'll be looking at right now. It looks like OG was taken. There's a few pings going on, but saying, hey, we gotta, make something happen here. And so OG actually going back, it looks like, for the central area right now. Yeah, see, they're still pinging around. But anyway, I don't know what's going to be going on with IX Gaming, but here we go. Rotom actually going to be secured by them too. So this is looking good. I guess if you're IX, it's just that there was a little bit of trying to figure out, hey, what's OG doing, what's IX doing as a team, and they did seem to pull it off together though. So now we have Fanciful Fireworks. They are back, but Delphox unfortunately down.
Yeah, and it looks like GT got split up a little bit, which made it possible for IX Gaming to be able to take out a majority of them. But it looks like Black Sage is back on the Delphox, and so they're able to push them back a little bit and defend against ults coming out left and right. We'll see what happens here, and it looks like they're trying to push, IX Gaming is trying to push a little bit and take out Bolby here to see if they can get some scores. So everyone from IX is coming back.
Yeah, that really was kind of an advance. Like, that was quite an aggressive push right here, and it may actually come to punishment because Kratos is going to fall right now. So IX Gaming really turning that around. They were looking for that KO on Bolby a little bit too hard, and so you have to wonder, GT, I'm not sure if that was the play, but hey, you got the Rotom right there. You're still defending against that. At least that's not touching down right now. And it looks like we have 3, 2, 1 for another Dreadnought, the final one of the match, and we'll see. It does seem that Bolby will converge on that.
Bolby and Nudo both converging on that. It looks like GT's not really going to go for that. It looks like they're going to focus more on getting EXP from farms instead of risking being wiped out by IX for this Dreadnought, and preferring to just make sure that they all have their ults and making sure that they're going to be all alive and well positioned for Zap instead. Though they are chasing Rin here, being able to take that out might be helpful for the Zap fight. And they are damaged, and Rin is taken out by Kratos and Delphox.
Yeah, I think Rin had a good idea, was to try to pull everybody off for this Zapdos fight, but unfortunately it's just, hey, you're the lone Snorlax going up against these guys. I mean, the odds were stacked not in his favor. So anyway, that is the final stretch. They're going to see that they really are struggling over there on GT side, but from our perspective, definitely not outside of the range of a comeback, because that is what you're looking for, is that Zapdos secure. So if you can get this, you can Zap flip it and turn it on its head right here. Yeah. But notice some of them are dropping.
Ooh, okay, and we see Kratos, who secured the Zap, actually being taken out very quickly. We see not enough scores going to be able to be put in. Espo debating which goal to go score in, but it looks like they're going to go score in the top goal, even though that's not going to break it. GT coming back from spawn, so they are going to be able to defend at least from any push IX is making, but they're just barely ahead, so they are going to need to probably want to make a push or defend really heavily from IX's side.
And so earlier we saw maybe a hundo dunk it or two, but this is definitely close for a final stretch, and that's kind of what we want to see from a viewer's perspective, from a spectator's perspective. So anything goes right here, but IX definitely trying to make that push. I mean, you see on the mini-map right there is definitely a good indicator who's got the pockets, who's got the full pockets, and who is close.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be OG and Nudo both up top trying to protect from a goal. It looks like Nudo was able to maybe get a score in, but Delphox and Blissey both up top defending on it, as OG rotates back down bot for a whole team push all the way down bot, while Black Sage takes out Nudo. But if they're not careful, they are going to be able to get all these scores in, and IX might pull ahead with the siege right here. Though Lakoding's doing a great job of defending with all those sacred swords.
That was really nice for GT. That's going to give them a little bit of breathing room. Didn't really have the defense from it, but had at least a Dragonite there to go ahead and sneak by and score. That definitely gives them the wiggle room that they might need. But look at this. The dunks keep on coming in. That's a nice 84. It gets it so close. They need this from Bolby. That's going to be it. The Duncan, ladies and gentlemen. IX Gaming coming in the last little bit of time. Tings, this is nuts. Hundo Duncan, you get one. You get one. Right
Everyone
there.
gets a Hundo Duncan here with that last minute push, with that last team wipe. Their IX Gaming was able to pull ahead.
Man. So, you have got to feel, you're probably a little bit tilted if you're on GT's side. You've had it. You made some sneaky moves and everything. You got the zap, but then look at this. IX Gaming. There's a reason why they're going to Worlds, folks. I mean, look at this. They pulled that off at the finals. Onus really, this is going to be tough, right? I mean, because you're very far, like you can't, I guess, let the mental take over is kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Is
Yeah.
even if you're losing right now, you're down 2 games like GT, you're a solid team. I mean, hey, you just took on legends like TTV and that team, so you have what it takes. We've seen it transpire in these last 2 matches, Tings, and I'm sure you made note. You know, they were definitely keeping IX Gaming on their toes in that last one, especially.
That last one was neck and neck for so long, and even with the zap goals, they were able to pull ahead, and they did a really good job of defending. But ultimately, because it was just a numbers game in the end, with who was left alive, at one point it was just a little Blissey trying to keep everyone from scoring with their little slaps, and that makes it really hard. And that made it really hard. And then once the Blissey was gone, there's no healing, especially when you have 5 of the team attacking a single character. But it's going to be a good game. This is a best of 5, so it's not over yet. But let's see what GT does in this next matchup. I'm curious.
I think that's the key, right? So, like we say, the onus is really on GT right here to just try and think like, all right, we've been doing so good. It's just we seem to, I guess the losses happen at the zap dose. You know, that's largely been it. This last match, though, was not really a zap play because you saw that GT got it. And so you have to question, you know, what can they actually do? Because sometimes it's not even a question of like, oh man, what should we have done better that last game? Well, you know, IX really pulled that off in the last like 15 seconds or so. So sometimes when it comes down to that, from a player's perspective, you have to think, well, how much really can we change? And so, like we say, though, from our perspective here in the booth, like we can obviously make it sound more easily said than it's done, is that the onus is on them. And so with GT now, they will switch sides, so make sure that you guys know that it's not a jarring experience for you, that we now have IX Gaming there in the purple and GT for orange.
We'll see what their character picks are. I'm curious to see whether they're gonna keep it exactly the same or not. Like you said, it's like it's hard to see whether it just comes down to the characters or anything else. But it looks like so far it's gonna basically remain the same. Just waiting on Nudo to lock in a character. Wonder if they're gonna flirt with the green check mark again before ultimately switching to Serena.
That is such a great way to put it, because yeah, we might see Nudo flirting with disaster right here, but hey, it's paid off maybe a little bit, but mind games. Anybody? I don't know if anyone's a Ted Lasso fan out there. You know, they say mind games all the time, but Lick Holding right here, sticking still with the Age of Slash. I think you like to see it in general. Like, it's been okay. It's just, I wonder if there was like one pick maybe on GT that could sway this in their favor. And again, it's not necessarily that I'm sure of that. You know, I could see it going in multiple directions right now. It's all up to the players here. So we're about to enter that game 3.
And Nudo did stick with the Cramorant. They are sticking with the Cramorant, so I'm curious to see how this ends up going. The Serena has been very aggressive, extremely impressive, being able to help with the Machamp and making a lot of those engages and initiating a lot of the team fights. I'm curious to see where the Cramorant is going to factor in here and how it changes how the game plays out.
Oh, we love the gutted blue dodo around here, so it's Nudo. Thanks for representing. But ladies and gentlemen, that is game 3's ready go. Just about 10 seconds ago, we have now gotten this match underway, and we do actually have a question for Tings in the chat from Gamma. Our tournament organizer says, does the Chonky Pika have a name?
I'm gonna have to go with Zoinks here. I think it's just basically been referred to as Tonkachu every time by both my friends who know Pokemon and the friends who just know that Pikachu is the yellow character, and everyone just calls it Tonkachu. So Zoinks is completely right.
There you go. So you have gotten all your questions answered here, folks, except one question still remains, and that is, will IX Gaming overtake this team, or will GT do kind of the unthinkable? I mean, it's not completely. It's just, it would be quite the uphill fight to bring this into their favor now, where they would have to win 2 matches and then win that last one.
Exactly, and we'll see what happens here. Looks like Bulby and Kratos are both going to be up top for this top Bs. Bulby giving us a little bit of a dance before it spawns. Not much else to do besides give us a little show, I guess.
That's right. The Tings, you're probably familiar with that little song and dance. Sometimes you see it from especially even the pro players. They're going to be waiting on that objective to spawn, and you'll see them just do the little twirling around. And so that's what we call the song and dance. There it is, but you're going to pull off some major KOs right here, especially for this early on. Look at this. So GT looking solid, at least early.
Exactly. Some viewers might be wondering why Nudo was just standing in a whirlpool instead of using that to attack the bees, and it's because if the Cram stands in the whirlpool, they actually have the boosted autos, so they can launch an Arrokuda or a Pikachu depending on their HP, and get some boosted autos, which is probably better for some of the clears earlier.
All looking good right now. This is all very standard for what we would imagine. I mean, you're at 19-19. Can't get much closer than that, right? But we're about to see things sway, I'm sure. There you go. This is very nice for Dragonair right here for GT. And, of course, you're going to follow it up by a cool little dunk. Calm, cool, and collected, it seems like. But, hey, look at this. Maybe not so little. It's going to be this nice 22 from It's Nudo the Cram here for IX Gaming.
Exactly, but it does look like Lakota was getting in some free dunks up top while everyone was doing a fight in the midsection, though it does look like OG is back and testing based on the mini-map Lakoting's dunks. Ooh, we can see, though, GT going in for a Hoopa invade on the jungle, and we'll see whether they're successful again this time. We saw a little bit of the last match, and they were able to get that last buff. And they do successfully secure it from Bulby, and they just go back home, and they rotate down bot.
Are we now seeing the Bully Hoopa plays today, ladies and gentlemen? We had the Bully Lex, and now it's the Bully Hoopa. And so, right here, we just got about 10 seconds. You guys know Dreadnought is going to be coming up after these Bs. And so, you imagine most of the teammates are going to be down here, although there is a slugfest, a slobber knocker going on the top path that is not resolved yet. So here we go. We got 4 hands on deck each team for this Dreadnought.
Nice, and we'll see who secures it. The Hyper Beam's up, but do they get it with the Hyper Beam? I think the Snorlax ended up getting it with the Bullywhack got it with the jump.
Wonderful, wonderful job right there. You were wondering, when is that Bullywhack finally going to kind of make one of these plays again? That is just crucial, and that's one of those critical ones from Rin. Definitely capable of it, but notice that our Cram, he's going to be brought down, and of course Rin just going on the rampage right here. Rin's rampage, you guys. And so right now Bullywhack is going to go ahead. We're going to pull down, and that is a well-timed power nap because it's going to keep him in this fight and hopefully try to stop something here, being that lone Snorlax on the path.
Rin being able to stop a lot of goals, basically, to bringing OG down, bringing the Hoopa down dangerously low with the levels wise and giving Nudo time to come back and help defend, though not before Blissey got a little bit of a score in.
Yeah, so they're definitely keeping this neck and neck, right? Both of these teams, when you see 77-60 at 6 minutes left, this is pretty good for both teams, although you are seeing some of these interesting drops where you may not expect them. And of course, that one was for Cramorant right here from IX, but it's been all over the board so far. Rotom will now get shuffled in.
Yeah, Rotom, it was a dance, the battle of the Hyper Beams, so IX went a little bit too early, so GT was able to take that down with a fully stacked Hyper Beam. OG just holding their ult, just waiting to see if they can ult and punch out, but it looks like they're just holding it and seeing what's going to happen, though dangerously low, having to pull back a little bit as Pikachu comes up with some heals as GT tries to push that Rotom in still.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be backed up by Pikachu right there because if you noticed, obviously OG was taken, kind of left to contend with a Dragonite, just hyper beaming right through the eyes, man. So that did kind of make the difference. So IX Gaming, really wonderful job to kind of clutch, defend against that Rotom in this little last stretch. But anyway, we do obviously want to look at the Dreadnought coming up right here because that's going to be our next major objective for this match. But hey, what comes before that is just a few dunks right here from OG was taken on that top path.
OG getting some stacks, free stacks, and probably trying to max out their 6 stacks because they were getting so aggressive before. Some ults coming out here. Though it looks like GT secures that one, even though Kratos got knocked up a little bit. But it looks like the Black Sage's Delphox Fireworks ult is gonna get that win for them on that Dreadnought.
Right, you notice the Draco Impact come right down to a KO, so that's the unfortunate part, huh? So GT now making that demonstration of what we've talked about before in this tourney is just that sometimes when you hit that Dreadnought, you've got the shields, you've got the experience, and the momentum. You've gotten some KOs in this case, so they really did make that push and brought this back to a game that's 137-140.
Very, very close, though. GT not breaking the first T1 goal on bottom after getting that Dreadnought, though not using it to push any further, probably because they knew IX was all coming back and probably going to jump down bot, a chance of losing. But it looks like there's a fight for Rotom happening. Machamp is coming out, taking out Black CH's Delphox. Espo giving us a little dance as we wait, and everyone's pulling back a little bit just to see what the other team does.
That hyperspace hold did go down on that goal, but you notice that it was just not in time to stop it. So they did actually break. Unfortunately, unable to, I should say, stop the IX Gaming, bringing the score a little bit more into their favor. Like we say, though, this is still pretty close, GT is going to secure a Rotom right here. It would be nice to see it, make something happen at this point, though. If it touches down, that's going to be 20 off the goal, and it's still live after that.
It does touch down, and Bulby's probably going to... Oh, it's not... some smaller scores as they try to score. And they do get a score in, though it's not Bulby's 50, but still breaks the goal. But GT does get some kills in, and they are able to. Wait, I think I got some names. Either way, but they are getting some kills, and they are able to push a little bit even further up into the T2, giving them a nice 100 lead.
Yeah, you're good. So that was interesting because, you know, after the first goal break, they really just kind of seamlessly walked to the next, the T2, and so that was looking really good for GT, I would say. Now, this is the point, right? Is last time they have to keep this in mind, of course. That last time they did sort of a very similar thing right here, where they were in the lead going into the final stretch, and then, you know, they could even still get the Zapdos and lose. So we really got to kind of play, what would you call this? Cross the T's, dot the I's, you know, you make sure everything is just kind of all organized here, and you're on top of your game.
Yeah, everything's exactly in place. They got the Dreadnought without any contention, it looks like, but they are starting a team fight here. It looks like Bullywhax is coming out really brutally taking out Eggnoob and forcing them back, taking Eggnoob eventually taken out by that Hyper Beam. But I believe they'll be back up just barely in time, but they will be missing the Blissey ult and the Blissey heals, which will make a little bit harder for them to stay alive for longer, especially as Black Sage is getting destroyed here. And they get their ult down, but they are taken out by the Rings Unbound.
Yeah, you want to give some kudos to IX Gaming for picking off these one. You know, it's like you pick off the baby or the wounded wildebeest or something in that area. You know, that's what they were doing. But you also have to wonder, GT, did you really have, you know, your positioning right? Now, if you want to talk about positioning, hey, look at this. This is a good position to be in right here. GT now has a full team wipe on their hands, leaving them to the Zapdos. Now remember, of course, IX still won without getting the Zap, but this is a different kind of play, Tings. What we saw last time is IX Gaming was still in the mix. This time they have to recover from being KO'd.
Oh, we see the Bullywhax here just trying to stop Kratos from scoring, pushing him into a wall, but Kratos escapes and is able to get out. We saw Lakota taking it, assuming that Kratos would get out eventually, getting the scores in. Will Black Sage get the score? No, they get stopped before they're able to get that in from the Machamp, but everyone trying to get it back. Pika Diff trying to stop Espo from being able to heal, getting a little bit of health back from that Phantom Forest, but getting chased down really by everyone else on the team as they are pretty deep right now.
And I do have to say, you guys, I may just be gone a sec. I got to go over to the Dunkin' to order some Hundo Dunkins. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes! I just had to get my order in. We got a few Hundo Dunkin' in there for GT. Looking pretty solid. IX could still come back with a major push, but they really don't have time on their side, right? That's going to be the key. Even if you have some pockets that are looking nice and chunky, this may not fall in their favor with that timer.
Yeah, it looks like basically everyone is taken out except for Rin's Bullywhax, who's all the way on the other side of the nap, so he's just taking a power nap on this side as we're in the final 20 seconds, and they surrender with GT taking the lead. They win with 499.
Yeah, so I think IX Gaming kind of knows, hey, let's throw in the white towel, the white flag, right? That gets raised or whatever. And at this point, you know, Rin, I'm glad you gave us a little show for that before the surrender. But that will lead to a final score of 499 right there for GT to 201 on IX Gaming.
That was a really clean team fight at the end.
Under their belt, you still, if you're IX Gaming, you're sitting pretty still a little bit, but I think we need to not be overconfident. That's just the key thing here. And IX Gaming is a team, we've said it over and over again, they're representing the North American region for Worlds, so you have to know that they know what they're doing, right? So you have to imagine that they wouldn't really get too comfortable in these shoes that they find themselves in. But Tings, this is the moment where I think you and I find ourselves that it's really hard to establish what needs to exactly be done for either of these teams to win specifically. We're talking in like very clear specifics, because we've now seen, I guess, like several strategies play out across 3 games that they've had against each other. And at this point, it's like almost anything can go, you know? Do you kind of stay with what's been working already? Because it has worked 2 games if you're IX Gaming, but 1 game right now if you're GT. They just had an awesome win. So, you know, there's that strategy or like school of thought, or the school of thought of trying to pull a surprise here. Now, does that come with a risk? Like, are you playing something that maybe you're a little less comfortable with or doesn't pay off? You know, so you have to think about all these scenarios, right?
Yeah. I'm curious to see where this ends up playing out. I mean, the only big change that we noticed was Nudo ending up on the Cram instead of the Serena. I wonder if they're going to keep it that way again. It looks like, actually, no, they're immediately locking in that Serena. No chance for any guesswork here. They're going to stick with what worked in the first 2 games. It looks like most of the team is going to stick with that as well. I will say, I think the Cram really, switching from Serena to Cram, really lost them the chance to really both a lot of CC and also a lot of engage and being able to dive on some of the squishier characters and just go in and make sure that some of the main damage was taken out or stunned faster so that they couldn't really win a lot of those team fights. But GT did have very clean team fights in that last match, so I don't know if it's just going to be a character diff at this point anymore.
Well, I would tend to agree, of course. We're going to see OG was taken, never throw the check mark down until that 0, so that will be, of course, Machamp still. So, again, we're sticking kind of with that school of thought that I was, bringing up. It was one case was, well, don't fix it if it ain't broken. We kind of had matches that were pretty close and both teams were doing really good. So we're kind of largely going with that strategy. I'd be really interested to see if, though, the gameplay element of it changes. So, what can we do from a macro sense? Maybe some of our micro, some of our team fights. But really, these are 2 solid teams, ladies and gentlemen. So you're in for the absolute slugfest in this Game 4 on our grand finals. Of course, with GT now on the purple and IX on the orange.
It is match point. If IX Gaming wins, they win this tournament, or if GT wins, then we are going to a 5th game since this is a best of 5. So it is really tense here, and we'll see what they end up doing.
IX might have listened to the stream earlier when everybody in our chat, they wanted a Game 5. So maybe IX will throw? Okay.
They're going to at least give us a Game 4,
Yeah.
So we'll take what we can get.
So anyway, Tings, this has been fantastic. I can only hope, though, just with all the jokes aside, maybe, that we do see quite the slugfest. And so I think that the level of competition will only get higher and higher as It's Nudo is now caught way in the danger zone because you've got GT members on all sides here on this bottom path.
There's a huge push from those 2, having Egnoob on the bot right there in order to help with that KO was super good. And you saw that Black Sage was able to get a goal in as well. And they're now a little, I actually don't know what this evolution is called. The middle evolution of Delphox.
It's Breaksin. Go Breaksin right there. So Breaksin will break in and try to go ahead and make a few advancements on these Bs, but obviously being pushed way back right here and will result, of course, in lots of dunks from IX Gaming right here. So very nicely done from their side.
And this is the first game we've actually seen where Bulby rotated down first instead of rotating top first. I think it's just trying something new, trying to see if they can aggress it. And you can see like a really big collapse on bot. You can see everyone just in this corner here, just really pushing. Kratos also joining the fray, but it looks like it's splitting up a little bit, though they are really aggressing. That poor Machop getting pushed really far into GT side.
Yes, well, I think that OG has to have a plan. If it's OG was taken, anybody else, I might question it. But hey, OG was taken, although going to be brought down right here from IX. So you were right to call it as kind of just a moment of chaos, a moment of panic.
Yeah, just trying to get out, just distract enough maybe for Bulby to come in and with like a little bit of a rescue, but seems not. Espo here with the invade again, but Nudo seemingly anticipating it, making it a little bit more brutal, though they're able to get back and forth with heals very easily. Though it doesn't look like they're going to try to go to jungle again. Just go back to top lane and back up Lakota here.
Right. I mean, that was really good pressure. Just as a Zarina player, you can just kind of get up in the face of that Hoopa right there. And that was key to saying, hey, like, let's make sure this thing doesn't come back, right?
Yeah.
So definitely keeping that pressure on very strong and in their face, like we said. So 720, you guys obviously know that means the Combi and Vespiquen platter. And then it's going to be served up by some Dreadnought burgers, if you want to call it that or something, because the Dreadnought is going to be coming up next on the main course. So here in just about 10 seconds.
And it looks like Kratos is just a tiny bit behind, just caught up just now to Bulby here, and they're both Dragonites now for the fight that's going to be happening down bot. Rin trying to stop Lakota from going down bot. But it does look like IX still secures it. Lakota just a tiny bit late from that knockup from Rin's bully lags, though they do take out Bulby here, and they're going to push for this T1.
And so I'm sure everybody's noticing what's going on with the mini-map right there, but that'll paint the picture really well because you obviously see that there was a little bit of divide and conquer with IX Gaming that did pay off slightly, but you are going to see GT's advantage in that scenario, right? Is even if they don't win the Dread, they don't get the shields, they have their whole team there, they can make that push, and obviously a pretty nice assault right here on both goals because the T1 is broken, but also you're over half down on that T2.
They got some nice scores in on that T2, taking advantage of the fact that they did see that, well, not see, but they didn't see two of the members of IX on this lane. So they took advantage of the fact that everyone was out and that there is no jump pad yet because it's not at the 5-minute mark, so that they can get some easy, quick scores in. They did take some KOs, but they did get some scores, like you said. Though it does look like Black Sage taken out there a little bit by Bullywhax, taking them out.
And Rin, that bully as Snorlax, this is where we kind of want to see it, I think, is if we want to see Rin playing that Snorlax bully style, this is the game that he's been bringing it out. So very nicely done. Going to get the heavy slam and then try to push this Rotom back into their favor. But you're obviously going to see that it did actually end up going to GT. And so that was really well fought from GT's side because that was definitely a contest. It's not like that was just an easy win for that Rotom. So it'll pay dividends right here as they go ahead and get some dunks in.
Exactly, and you saw that I saw OG going in with their ult, and that there were some knockouts happening, especially with Rin's Bullywhax, but they were still able to get that hyper beam off in order to secure that. But it looks like they're not going to break it yet. They don't really want to quite give IX the advantage, and also Hoopa only would have been able to put in like a 7 overcap, so not a huge win if they were to break that goal. So they're just going to leave it, even though they got Rotom in.
Do right, you tings, as we now have just a few seconds here to await the Dreadnought steak. Is that a better one? Is it like filet Dreadnought? I don't know. Anyway.
Filet Dreadnought, we can say with a really fancy accent to make it sound more legit.
Filet Dreadnought is coming up right here, ladies and gentlemen, as that now is going to be filleted down to that 90% damage really quick, and then it is secured right here. And look at that, because this has been quite the team fight, but of course GT is going to end up taking that, just again, not without quite a slugfest on our hands.
Exactly. Looks like Rin gets it out safely and is hiding in the bush and makes it back. But yeah, the hyperspace, both with the Delphox ult and Lakoding's Aegislash going on it at the same time, and some hyper beams going off just slightly too early, making it easy for Lakoding to get it with either an auto or a Sacred Sword. But
absolutely. So we now find ourselves at that stage of the match where, yeah, Rotom is going to be coming up, but you've got a lot of things that happened before that, right? So here it was, the coup de grace, very nicely done, and that's going to leave Lakoding here with a lot of damage, a lot of momentum still to go, but you have to wonder, you know, GT is still in this, right? And so they are going to actually Draco Impact into this fight, and then notice, there it is. That's what I was talking about. You can absolutely change this down. When you see some of your team members still falling, don't quit, basically, I think is the key there.
Yeah, we saw a huge ult from Lakoding, taking out 2 of the members of GT, but that Aegislash is just so strong, being able to take out so many other members, especially with that ult, staying alive in that shield form until Bulby was able to come back, though Bulby did end up getting taken out, so still no wins yet on Rotom.
Seeing in our chat, 1 HP in a dream from Gamma right there. That's
exactly.
Kind of a key. That's been very much key this match, even if he's on a chat delay too. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, Jinja saying that it sounds yummy, the filet Dreadnought, or it's like filet Dreadyon, maybe that's it. Filet Dreadyon, yeah, that might be it. Anyway.
I see that one.
There you go, you see me. All right, cool.
Yeah, I see.
So now that I've been seen, here we go. We got Rotom gonna make that advance. Of course, GT is gonna secure that again. So they've been doing really well on these Rotoms on this top path, and they will let that touch down because that will be the overcap, but only with 20 on a 12 goal.
Yeah, not huge. Basically could have been what Hoopa could have been put in earlier, but it does mean that they denied them that catch-up Audinos on the top lane for a little bit longer, which you see Bulby farming really aggressively right now, trying to probably get their ult back. We can see that they don't have a dot under their name, so they don't have that ult right now, but the Dreadnought fight is in the midst of happening right now, though GT is getting fielded off really far, so I don't know if they're going to be able to get it off right now. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get in, but Dreadnought's not quite too low yet. We'll see who gets it here, and I think Pikachu got it with a little slap.
Would you look at that? You just slapped the filet Dreadyon. So there it goes. Pikachu, wonderful job. And so Bullywhax, we're trying to come in and make a few moves happen, but just kind of after the fact. You know, a lot of these team fights are taking place now up top a little bit more closer towards this Zap pit. And look at this, IX Gaming is actually kind of coming in with positioning early on, right? That's why, again, they took that team fight away. But look at that, IX Gaming is now going to change things around and pull that Zap flip off. Tings, what do you see?
GT, I mean, made a really big move where they were able to take out Bolby really early on, like right at the 2:01 mark. So Bolby wasn't able to be there. They went really aggressive, but OG had loaded up that ult and so had taken out a lot of their team members. So they're going to go score now. IX just pulling into the lead just now. We saw Lucoting trying to get in a score here, but then Bolby had just come back from spawn. But we'll see if they're going to keep trying to aggress this. The GT really needs to go in and go for a score here. We'll see if they're able to siege all together. Lucoting getting bullied by the bully lax again. The Rin's wall meeting the shield from Lucoting.
Yeah, that was
here.
funny. Shield on shield right there. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing our chat say Sword Gaming. They are on a delay from us, so they're obviously talking about Sword Gaming at a different time. That would have been lovely, Sword Gaming, but unfortunately seeing it brought down, and it was not without just so much effort, right? I mean, GT, that would have been such an amazing push, and it was. It just unfortunately got thwarted by IX Gaming right here. And so we have to see now, you got 45 seconds. You can make something happen. It's just, is it enough?
They can make something happen, but they also have to be aware of the fact that they're not that far down. So they're going to be splitting their resources between both defending and trying to push. You can see that IX Gaming is making a push up top. Serena getting in 98 points there. So firmly putting IX in the lead. Hoopa trying to defend against Bullylax and Nudo is going to be really hard here. So you can see the two supports there. It looks like Agnoob's going to try to do it, but it's caught between a rock and a hard place right now.
Between a rock and a Snorlax kind of place. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you might have heard my dog barking. He's even upset at what's going on right here. I think he wanted to see a Game 5, but I'm thinking that we're going to see IX take the crown right here. You notice that obviously there is a portal going down there with the rings unbound, but, you know, it might just be that it was just too much of that uphill fight, you know? The odds are really stacked against you in that scenario. So I think we can go ahead and call it, Tings. We're going to see the final score coming up right here with these numbers. IX Gaming on top with that 481 victory over GT's 256.
Yeah. Really good fight at the end, and GT was really close to being able to secure it, but some of the knockups that they got meant that they weren't able to get those moves down in time, and so IX was able to secure that zap when it was just at like 1 HP, being able to get those big scores. And we can see that GT was leading most of it. They almost got that zap, would have had an even bigger lead, but the IXs being able to take out get that Zapdos score and also getting that final Serena cap was huge, and denying everyone in GT from being able to score on their end, being able to do a siege, meant that they've secured the victory here.
So yes, my dog's name is Apple. If anybody wants to know, Apple is quite upset. I think he wanted to see that next game. But ladies and gentlemen, you guys are right in the chat. Anime Lou was saying IX really turned this game around, and that was the illustration of it with that map, with the graph, I should say. But right here, you're going to see IX kind of playing largely as a collective with the damage too. But hey, you got to hand it to, you know, for instance, like playing that sword exactly how that sword should be played. We saw Sword Gaming for sure with that 101k.
Yeah, that 101k damage was incredible because they were also able to sustain so long. That sword really came in clutch. I think at first we were thinking whether that was the right choice of a character pick here. I think it ended up doing a lot of damage and winning them a lot of objectives, especially towards the later games as they got more used to playing it against this comp. But unfortunately, in the end, that Zap flip just did not work out in GT's favor.
Yeah, you got to hand it to your Dragonite players today. You know, Kratos, Bolby, doing very well, even if not wearing the crowns, especially in this game. But just over the whole tournament, everything that we've seen coming from the Dragonites today, it's been really quite the marvel. I think that in general, this was really, really just a great showing all around, and a really good let's call it tournament as a whole for Tings to cast for her first time here on Victory Road Unite Clash. And I really do appreciate you coming in and filling in for us, helping us out here with this. You know, I've got your name for any future ones, of course, but Tings, can you guys in the chat, not only while you're applauding IX Gaming, let's go ahead and give our claps for all the little Tings right here for joining us today. I'll just kind of sign off with where you can find me, but then Tings will have you speak about, you know, where people can find you. But of course, I'm Dr. Kendo of the Pokemon Master Kendo channel. I'm here on pretty much every one of these broadcasts. You know, I don't want to say it for sure in case I come down with COVID. That was the only time I missed it, that was back in December. Had the COVID, but yeah, so that was the only time I missed one. Otherwise, you know, happy to be here representing for Victory Road Unite Clash. DR_KENDO is the Twitter. And please, while you're looking at my socials, also stay in touch with Victory Road. Their Twitter is in the About bio. I keep pointing that way. No one knows what I'm pointing to, but I'm looking at their About bio and stuff. So their Twitter's there, the YouTube, the website, all of that stuff. You're going to get a look at the bracket of what was really the story of this whole tournament. And I'm about to let Tings talk. I know I need to shut up, but here it is, you guys. IX Gaming, they are your champions. So many congrats to them. Tings, I'd say, go ahead, give a blurb about the tourney that you want to say, anything, congrats or whatever, and then tell people where we can find you.
I mean, this was such an exciting tourney to cast. I mean, it's the 12th Victory Road GG Tour tourney, so like the anniversary. So what a fun one to cast, especially doing with Dr. K and all these tourney organizers like Gamma, am I saying it right? I don't know. I'm sorry if I messed it up. Yeah, Gamma. It's been amazing, and it was such a fun experience. So huge props to Dr. Kendo as well. Yeah, I do content things sometimes. I stream on Twitch at All the Little Tings. I have a YouTube at also All the Little Tings. And then I also have a Twitter called All the Lit Tings because Little Tings didn't fit, so I had to shorten it somehow. But this was a delight, and thank you guys so much for having me. Amazing, and these were such fun games to watch. What an amazing time.
I'm gonna also give you the honor, and it is a great honor, and you just know that I have it's almost like a superstition that I can't throw it out. So you get to end it for us today. So, you could say anything else that you want, but otherwise you could just say thank you and goodbye or whatever, whatever you want. I'm going to mute. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, thank you guys, everyone, so much for tuning in. Thank you to all of these amazing teams for competing. All of the games from both the very first rounds all the way to the end were amazing to watch, even if I wasn't casting them. And thank you everyone in chat for hanging out with all of us. Huge shout out to the organizers. Huge shout out to Dr. Kendo. Huge shout out to all the players. This was so much fun. And thank you everyone for tuning in. This was a great time.